we're seeing even the effects now. We talked before about, what's happening on Wall Street affecting Main Street, but even some of our restaurants are telling us, that they're feeling the prices of the fuel.
Sure,
And,
right.
how can they raise their prices when consumers are feeling the pinch as well? So they're kind of, between a rock and a hard place.
Absolutely. Well, what really comes out in the restaurants is they're going to have more vegetarian dishes. It's the meat is where the cost is.
Yeah.
It takes 7 pounds of grain to make 1 pound of beef, and this is a fact.
Yeah,
Not a pleasant one.
It's not easy to change.
I've had my time with being a vegetarian. I thought it was pretty interesting. I have one daughter whose family is vegetarian, so I'm kind of familiar with how you go about it. But I want to talk a little bit about speaking of the food, and that is how petroleum-based our food system is. In the 60s, late 60s, they had the Green Revolution. Sounds right, doesn't it?
Sure.
And what it meant was pumping all the acreage with all kinds of petroleum-based amendments, fertilizer and pesticides, and all. Very dependent on petroleum-based additions to the crops. Well, say from the 60s to the present day. Well, let me back up again. When I took ecology at SUNY Purchase, I learned about how when there's a lot of food, the animals multiply. They just go right up. There's a lot of food, then there's a lot of whatever species you're going to look at. And when it goes down, then they die out. I hate to tell you, friends, but the population, because of the Green Revolution, doubled from the time the Green Revolution started. And because the food became much more plentiful. Well, now that is in reverse. So you can expect some very, very serious population changes. It is absolutely going to happen. And it could happen for several reasons, not just food. It could be floods. Mm-hmm. And the whole climate change thing, this is so interesting. That came up several times in the conference. The matter of peak oil and climate change. They're absolutely one and the same picture. Sure. They're kind of this different part of the elephant. Mm-hmm. It's the same issue, but so people are onto the climate change thing, but they haven't stopped to think that it's oil. Peak oil may solve the climate problem just by dropping. But the dropping of the oil price, as you see I look at CNBC all the time. I just watch it go up and down. Yeah. Turn the sound off and just watch this.
Like a roller coaster.
While I'm writing an article, I'm mesmerized. Yeah, it's not fun to look at times, that's for sure. But it is interesting, very interesting.